All right, good morning. We are in the greenhouse. We are close to 11 o'clock in the morning. We have been busy and we are trying to get water rigged up. And on the farm, water is essential. And by the way, it's essential off the farm too. This morning we are monkeying around with hoses, trying to find the necessary hoses to hook up our water, to get water to the animals, and we're dragging a bunch of old hoses around out here trying to fix them. Now I'm going to give you, I think, a piece of advice that will help you. You can get these guys online. These are hose end repair kits. Now you can buy them at Lowe's, but they're way more expensive at Lowe's than you can find them online, and you can buy 6 of them at the time. There's 2 different sizes that are available. Now these are very light metal. Now the old-timey ones were way heavier. This is the big size, and here's a regular hose right here, and it won't go into that size right there. Now here's the little one here, the smaller diameter, and it will go in there, and it's actually rather loose. Okay, I tried to force one of the bigger sizes in here yesterday, and I banged on it and I beat on it and all that, and I ended up damaging the hose and the thing. I used the smaller one on this hose right here. Now the reason I was using it is because I had to cut a section out of this because it had a bad leak. And I used the smaller one, but I could not clamp it tight enough or in such a way as to keep it from leaking. I tried, I even put Teflon tape on it and tried to get it. It just wouldn't work. Okay. This is what I want to tell you. Is your time worth anything? Well, my time is. Is my level of frustration worth anything? Yes, my level of frustration is something that I want to keep under control. I already was rude one time this morning to the lady at the local electric co-op, trying to get to the bottom of why the power company wouldn't come hook the power up to my new deep well. What does she call it? The system allows 3 days to do this or that. It's the system this, the system that. And I finally said, look, tell them to come out here and hook it up. And I hung up. They got guys that can do that, but this is the thing. I was frustrated and I was rude. Did that help anything? Was that a demonstration of the fruit of the Spirit, of patience, and of the Christian man? No, it wasn't. That was a manifestation of the old man getting frustrated. I didn't cuss her out and call her any bad names. I just was rude. I said, look, tell them to get over here and get this thing. And I hung up. The lady was doing her job to answer the phone, and her saying that it may take 3 days from the time that the engineer stakes the power pole and the men come hook it up could be as much as 3 days. Okay? It's been 3 days. They told her to say that. It wasn't her. She's doing her job, and I was rude. And I did. I'm not going to call her and tell her anything. It wasn't real bad. I'm sure she's heard a lot worse than that here lately with this remnant of this hurricane thing and power. We were, I think, 40 days without power here. And I like to joke that I was the very last one on that company that got their power back, but it finally got back. Okay. And I said to God, forgive me, God, for being rude to the lady. And like I said, I didn't call her any names. And like I said, I'm quite sure she's heard worse than that, probably every day. They'll come. They'll come today or they'll come tomorrow. The problem is that it's about to be Christmas time. Well, anyway, I won't go there. This is how I want to help you with your level of frustration and your time. All right? This is what I'm going to tell you. Don't buy crappy, cheap hoses. All right? Now, this is a crappy, cheap hose right here. It's probably a middle range. And you'll see on there, they'll say 5-year warranty, 3-year warranty. Some of them say lifetime. That remains to be seen. But the kind of material that the reason this won't clamp down, this is rock hard right here. And the reason it broke is because, let me show you something. I can see it breaking right there. You see, this thing is not flexible anymore. I bet if I did that 4 or 5 times, it would just break. And that's an old hose. I've gotten my money out of it. But I needed a piece of hose. And I tried to fix it with this right here. Okay, and I have some of these. I'm going to hang them up. I've got the 2 sizes. I've got the these guys here that you tighten it down with. I'm not going to try to fix this hose anymore. I'm going to throw this hose away. Or I could give it to the local jail down there so they can take people back there and beat them with a piece of hose pipe. No, they don't do that at our jail. We have a good jail and we have good police here. Although every police department, every sheriff's department probably has a few bad apples in it. And maybe we can weed them out here with our new political situation that's coming up. But by and large, the police, the fire, and all that, and yes, the electric company employees are trying to be useful and helpful. So I am sorry that I did that, but I'm not going to go hang myself over it. I got frustrated and I got a little bit rude. Why did I get frustrated? One reason is I bought a piece of a hose that was not a top quality hose, trying to save money. And I ended up getting frustrated. This hose right here has seen its better days. I still need a piece of hose about 25 feet long to finish my project. So I'm going to go down there to Lowe's in a little bit and I'm going to buy a piece of hose, maybe a 50-foot piece, and I'm going to buy the best hose that they've got. I tend to bite off more than I can chew. I don't know about you guys, but that's not the Spirit either. The Holy Spirit does not want you to choke on what you bite off to do. We need to have a relaxed life, a happy life. We need to have plenty to do, but we don't need to bite off more than we can do. So, the bottom line, don't buy cheap hoses. Yes, have some of these on hand. Now, of course, you could have a good hose and something could happen. You might run over it or it might get pulled on something sharp. And yeah, you do need some repair stuff around in your workshop and all. And we'll hang these up there in the greenhouse. And we will have them. We know exactly where they are. And we've got washers. You need to have a supply of washers. Bottom line, don't bite off more than you can chew, which you're going to do, but work on that. You can't do everything in one day. Work. Sufficient is the worry of the day therein, is what Jesus said. I'm working on this right now because I need water out there in one of my spots. And I got to see about it because the animals out there are needing to have water. And I don't feel like toting buckets out there, which I can do if I can't get this fixed. Water is absolutely essential. So I'm going to go buy a good hose down there. I'll probably make a video on it. You ever heard of rubber? You know, they actually still make rubber hoses. And some of those rubber hoses are guaranteed. And if this was rubber, see, rubber is flexible. It would have tightened right up on there and I could have fixed it. This here, like I said, is like a piece of jerky, okay? And it has been jerking me around for about an hour now. So I'm going to get rid of this. Not put it in the truck, and when I go to Lowe's, stop by the dumpster and put it in there when I got other stuff that need to go there too. Okay, that's my lesson on hoses. Buy good hoses, buy good tools, and don't bite off more than you can chew. Look, if I don't get that thing fixed out there, look, I don't even know if I'll be here tomorrow. We're not guaranteed another day. So if I'm planning on something that I'm going to do in 6 months from now, I'm not doing anything but worrying myself. Maybe in 6 months I'll get around to it, but there's no point in me worrying about it or thinking about it. I got stuff that needs to be done today, and I need to do it. Okay, this is what I'm doing right now, and we're going to be visiting Lowe's in a little while. It's getting close to lunchtime, and we're going to very likely eat our OMAD meal, our one meal a day, which we do recommend for homesteaders and everybody else to get themselves in fantastic shape. And that is a form of fasting, which Jesus said while he was here, he didn't expect his disciples to fast because he was essentially the bridegroom, and that was a celebration. Jesus here was coming to betroth his bride, which is the church, which is us. But he said when the bridegroom is taken away, that is when Jesus went back to heaven to prepare a place for us. In those days, they will fast. Now, since I started that business, let me go ahead and explain it. In the Jewish wedding ceremony and festival and tradition, the bridegroom would come to the house or the hometown of the bride. Maybe somebody arranged it, the parents, maybe they knew each other, whatever. And they would spend time together. People would come there. The friends would come there. It was a betrothal. You might say an engagement. And they would celebrate for a couple of days. They would have some good food. They would have some wine. And probably music and jokes and maybe some dancing and have a good time. Then the bridegroom, who is Jesus now, this is a picture of him, would go away to prepare a house for the bride. Maybe back where he was from. Maybe the next village, maybe 5 villages over. Maybe heaven. That's where Jesus went, to prepare a place. I go to prepare a place for you, he said. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. So the bridegroom was telling the bride in this ceremony, back where I come from, we're pretty well off. We've got lots of houses. I'm going to go and I'm going to either build you a new one or I'm going to fix up one of the old ones, and I'm going to prepare a place for you. So what did the bride do? The bride, while the bridegroom was away, went out juking at the juke joints and the bars and getting drunk with the drunkards and having a couple of affairs. No, the bride stayed at home and knitted some booties, or took lessons in cooking, or minded her own business. Oh, I'll tell you another thing. You know what else the bridegroom did? Fasted. Because she was just a little bit porky right there. And she wanted to fit into that wedding garment very nicely. She wanted that waist to be about that big and look beautiful. So she did some fasting. Maybe even some working out, you know. And the bridegroom went off to prepare a place. But guess what? When did he come back? They didn't know when he was going to come back. There was no limit on it, no shortness, no length. It might be 6 months. It might be 6 days. You know, if he didn't come back for 6 years, I imagine they were going to begin to wonder and maybe send somebody over there and see what's going on. But he came at an hour when they didn't know. What did he find the bride doing? She was sitting there at her house, behaving herself, getting ready for the wedding. Okay, now that's the picture of Jesus, and that was the picture of the Jewish wedding ceremony. They still do it that way. As my understanding is, the traditional families do anyway. So, Jesus said, when the bridegroom was there for the betrothal, when they were just getting engaged, they went ahead and ate and drank and had a good time. But when he left, he said, in those days they would fast. And that would be the people that are participating. They all want to be in good shape. They want to, and certainly the bride. We are the bride of Christ. Okay, why would we want to fast? Well, one thing, we don't want to be sick. But also, it heightens our spiritual awareness. It causes us to be able to reflect on the bridegroom who is in his Father's house preparing a place for us in heaven. And when he comes back, what did he say? I come at an hour that you know not. So he's coming back to collect his bride, but he's not going to tell you exactly when it was. And he said, when I do come back, I don't want to find you misbehaving. Now imagine this. If the bridegroom in those ancient times and even modern times comes back to claim the bride and she's out misbehaving, I'm pretty sure that one would be terminated, that marriage. That wouldn't happen. That would just be a picture of what she's planning to do later, you know, in the marriage. Same thing. Jesus said when he comes back, those that are claiming to be Christians, he doesn't expect to find them doing those wrong things. He expects them to be fasting and praying and doing what he told them to do, which was to declare his name before men. Now, can you imagine the bride? Yeah, she's going to tell everybody about the man that's going to come, the bridegroom. Anybody that comes to visit, they're going to say, what's going on? She says, I'm waiting to get married. And let me tell you about this great guy that's coming to marry me. He's going to take care of he's going to look after me. Well, Jesus is that great guy. He's going to come and he's going to take care of us. He's going to give us eternal life is what he's going to do. That's what the marriage is. So, fasting, praying, telling people about this wonderful bridegroom that's coming. Okay, let me tell you, he also said what he doesn't want to find you doing. He doesn't want to find you beating the men servants and the maid servants and getting drunk with the drunkards. He's describing a gross sinner. Don't let him find us doing that. So if you've got any of those habits and you are a believer or you think you're a believer, you need to start getting that under control. Ask Jesus to give you the strength to be a proper Christian. All right, that's my, how did I get from a crummy hose that is not much good into the Jewish wedding festival. Well, I don't know, but I got there. It was step by step. I don't know. Oh, I said I was going to eat our 1 meal a day. That's how we got into it. So that's it right there. I did want to tell you what the temperature in here was. Now, when I came out here early this morning, it was 50 in here at about daylight. And now it is up to 75, 74 degrees in here. And I put this thermometer in the shade, 74. My guess it'll get to be around 90 in here before the day is up. All right, this is the lesson for today on not getting frustrated, not buying crappy tools and hoses, and fasting and praying and waiting, because Jesus comes in an hour when we know not. And he wants to find us waiting for him. And then we will go to the wedding festival to heaven. All right. I thank you for watching, and we will get back to you soon.